All right. We're live. We are live, everybody. How are you? Was already live on the TikTok. Hi, TikTok. How are you? Good to see you. But I'm also live on the Instagram and the no, not Facebook. Because Facebook been cutting up. So I don't have time for Facebook right now. Facebook has been cutting up. I don't know what to do about it. And it's fine because I don't need to do anything about it. But I am live on the TikTok and on the YouTube. I'm gonna quickly share my YouTube. Hello, everybody. We're going to be talking about a fun subject. If you have been following me, if you have been seeing any of my reels that I've been posting, I'm always talking about. Well, let me start off by saying it's honestly made with Coach Steve, where authenticity meets assignment, where I coach you and encouraging you in the places of identity and emotional health and spiritual maturity. Okay, emotional and spiritual maturity. Okay, identity through the Creator, through God. It is Christian based, absolutely. And so I'm helping us, because we're all growing. We're all being perfected. We are all maturing. And so as I am helping you, I'm helping me. We're helping we guys. Okay. We're all in it together because we all need to grow. We all need to mature and all that fun stuff. So I'm excited about continuing to talk about I talked about before being an in between. I did a reel on talking about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. I talked about, I did not go live on Instagram. Lord have mercy. Let's welcome Instagram late to the party. Hello, Instagram. I did not officially say hi to y'all and push go. But um, but talking about this subject is near and dear to me, and it has me just recalling and thinking and reflecting on as I'm going into this space in my personal walk in my personal life. And I think that there is always an evolution. So although I have we all go from faith to faith and glory to glory. Sorry. Sorry, work. If y'all don't know, I'm a real estate agent. Okay. We must okay. So, let's try it again. So as I was saying, being in this rock, in a hard place, being between pressure and purpose. I've been talking about these different things because even though is what I was going to say, even though we can face these things in one way, in one season, right? We're always being challenged in other seasons, and new levels and all the things to do it again. The short version, right? To do it again. We're always being challenged to elevate and have our capacity stretched, right? We're always being challenged to, all right, you did it before at one level in one way in one capacity, but I'm challenging you to be stretched because I'm bringing you into a more perfected version of you, a more mature version of you, a more refined version of you. I'm challenging you to cope with things in a way that brings progression and not regression, or not digression. Digression, that's word. And so, and so we're always being challenged to stretch our previous identity, predisposition, the way we handle things. And it's always in accordance to the revelation that God is giving us continually and in the moment and for this season. Okay. And so I've been really challenged to how, yes, I've been in this quote unquote position, space, this type of journey before, but how am I faring in the way I handle, approach, show up, live in this journey? How am I handling it? I was sharing with a lovely group of ladies that I volunteer with, and one of the things I was saying was, am I just simply bracing for impact? Am I bracing for? Am I just grinning and bearing, closing my eyes until it's over? And I, equated it to a roller coaster. So as much as I can, I don't like heights. And so sometimes I go visit condos and they're on the whatever floor, right? 18th floor or something like that. And I am on the porch and I stand there, or I'm on the deck, or I'm on the balcony and I'm standing there and I'm like, whoo, and I'll go and I'll capture my picture, capture my video. I'll do that. And then I'm like, all right, but I don't get close at all to the edge. I don't get close. I don't like heights. Okay. And so, but I do like to get on roller coasters, because what's wrong with me? I like a challenge. I'm a little bit, I love a challenge. So I like to add a challenge in what I'm doing. And so, why you do me? Lights out. Look at that. Here we go. Hold on, y'all. I gotta plug the light up. Hold on. There we go. Let's try this again. My bad. Lights out, lights on. Okay, praise God. And so I like something about me also likes to challenge and push boundaries. And that's probably why I'm talking about some of the harder things. That's probably why I'm talking about maturing and how do we do it? And how do we do it in a way that is edifying, that is beneficial, in a way that is, just in a way that pleases God, in a way that causes us to a higher standard and to a higher, not only understanding of God, but also of ourselves. How do we do this? And how do we do this in a way, in grace, with tension, with discomfort, right? And so I think that's just a part of my makeup. And so I'll go on a roller coaster, but before I would go on roller coasters and I'm like, oh no, for dear life. So good. Right. And so I remember challenging myself again and being like, okay, so the next time, I don't go to amusement parks all the time, but the times, I go every few years or so, I was like, okay, I think the last few times we went, at this point, my kids are older now. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to challenge myself. Just leave my eyes open. I'm going to just leave my eyes open. And so now when I get on roller coaster, I'm like, number one, breathe. All right. And instead of me grinning and bearing and me just trying to get through that 30 seconds, 60 seconds, however long, 90 seconds of a ride, I'm going to open my eyes. I'm going to look around. I'm going to take it in. I'm going to take in what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing, and I'm going to go through it. Not just grin and bear it, not just let it be over. No, but I'm going to feel my way. I'm going to see my way. I'm going to be fully present. I'm going to be fully present, and my stomach doing all kinds of topsy-turvies, okay? And my stomach doing topsy-turvies, of me being nervous, of hoping, don't nothing fall off, fall out. I'm going to be present. I'm going to keep my eyes open. I'm not going to grin and bear it. And so many of us, so many times, when we're feeling challenged, when we're going through struggles, when we're going through situations, we just grin and bear it. When will it be over? Wake me when it's over. Wake me up when it's over. Wake me up when I'm off this ride. Wake me up when the feelings is over. Like, wake me up when it's over, right? So many of us feel that way. And so the challenge I'm going to continually stress to all of you, as well as myself, because I'm walking this thing. Okay. So when I say I'm with you, I'm with you. The challenge is that with every step, with every new discovery, with every new level, with every new season, with all of these things, that we challenge ourselves. Okay, I faced it this way, like this before, but this time I'm going to face it different. I'm not just going to be like, God help me live through it. I'm not just going to say, get me out of here. I'm going to really sit in this thing and allow the process to process me. I'm going to allow this process to truly process me. And I think for me, I'm going to speak about me. I ain't going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about me. I didn't fully value the processing of me part. We don't really value, like, we value the victory at the end, right? We value the victory at the end. We value the fact that, yes, I done made it into the land of milk and honey, or yes, I got the thing, or yes, it's over. Victory, it's over. But I don't think we always reflect, who was Danielle before that? Who was I before that? Who was I in the middle of that? And assess who we are now. And so we have to understand that the process, the function of the process is to truly process us out, right? Is to assess what's going on in there. What are the revelations that I'm picking up, that this journey, that this hard place, that this frustration, whether it's mentally, whether it's in my emotions, whether it's externally. And listen, we can't change the external stuff, right? So even if it's an external thing that's happening, we must understand that it's always going to help to challenge our innards and what's going on in there. It's always going to help to challenge our emotional state, our spirituality. It's always going to help it, because we can't change external circumstances. But what can these external circumstances change in me? And it's going to change us. And most times we settle at the fact that it changes us for the negative and it changes us for the bad, right? We have our trauma responses. And so we put up boundaries, layers, we're triggered, all of these things, because it has impacted us negatively. And so we leave wounded, we leave scarred, we leave with all these things, we leave with completely different ideologies now all of a sudden, because it has impacted us negatively. And so a lot of times we settle and we be fine with that. But we don't ever be like, how can this actually turn for my good? How can this actually produce good? How can this actually produce, rather than something negative, how can this produce resilience? How can it produce long suffering? How can it produce me having a better revelation of who I am, and most importantly, of who God is? How can it give me more creativity for me to be able to do ministry, for me to be able to do business? How can it create me being a better mom, me being a better wife? How can it help me to develop in all these different other pockets of my life? So these are things that I want us to consider when we're talking about this subject. Again, if you go back, you're looking at my social medias, I'm out here. I be talking about these things because it's a real thing. I'm going to be talking about a part 2, but or I'm going to be doing a part 2, but we'll talk about that towards the end. So this is really going to be part 1 of me talking about this. So let's get through it. That was enough of my introduction. Let's get through this, because I got things to do and calls to make. Okay. stuff to do. So, how to navigate through the rock and the hard place. Let's talk about it. Uh, Also, another way you could say, if I had a subtopic, subtitle, navigating the wilderness without losing yourself. There are seasons in life where it feels like every option is hard. And if you go forward, it stretches you. And if you go back, it costs you. And if you stay still, the pressure can build. And that's a lot of times the rock and the hard place. That is what the wilderness can be. I talked about this before. That's the in between place where you can't return to where you were, but you're not fully standing in what's next. And one of the biggest mistakes people make in these seasons is assuming that because it feels hard, something must be wrong. Okay. Or because I'm feeling what I'm feeling, something must be wrong. Right. Or because this is happening, something must be wrong. But biblically, let me talk right. But biblically, the wilderness is not always punishment, but sometimes it's preparation, and sometimes it's purification. Sometimes it's, refinement. And sometimes it is where God teaches you how to carry what you've been asking for. Excuse me, as I sip, not my tea, but my coffee. You carry what you've been asking, how you can carry what you've been asking for. Pause right here. We don't always realize that things that we desire, we don't always realize the type of person it can take. And I mean, as in, we're not comparing it to another person. I'm talking about comparing it to our own selves. The version of ourselves. What version of ourselves does it take to do the thing we want to do, or to have the thing that we want to have, or to be what we want to be? We don't always have the wherewithal to calculate what version of me does it take to receive what I'm asking God for. I just want to say a lot moment for that. All right, let's talk about, I ain't going to beat up my singles, but my singles. Let's talk about the culture that we live in that says, I need a, what you call it? What's they call it? The men, the kind of men. I need a $100,000, well, 250. It can't even be a six figure. I need this type of man, and he's got to be this, and he got to be able to take care of me. He's got to be able to do this, and he got to be able to do that, right? And so the late Kevin Samuels, would talk about, what it is to be. Wait, hold on, it's a comment. High value, thank you. High value. Everybody talking about, high value woman, high value man, right? And so that's the culture that we're in. Are you a high value woman? Are you a high value man? And so a lot of times you hear women, and Kevin Samuels, when he used to have himself his show, I didn't hate the man. He tickled me. I'm married. I've been married for a long time. So I wasn't necessarily his demographic, but it tickled me to listen to some of it sometimes. Now, he wasn't speaking all truth, but he wasn't speaking all wrong either in some of the things. Okay. And so, but what interests me in this high value ideology is that men or women or men, can call and make these declarations and make their lists and have none of the attributes to be able to withstand, uphold, compliment what it is that you're asking for. What I also find interesting is women who have social media pages that I'll stumble across from time to time who talk about the soft life. And they be like, how you can be a woman with a quote unquote high value man and the soft life, right? And I don't remember the influencer, but it's a couple of them that I've seen before. And one of the things that we're talking about is you can't be out here wanting to be around these kind of people and think that you can't have absolutely nothing to offer. What is your language? What can you bring to a conversation? Right? As much as they might like arm candy and like a trophy wife, you still got to be able to have conversation, to be in the spaces that they are in, around the people that they are around. You still have to be able to engage them intellectually, emotionally. You still have to have some knowledge, some understanding, right? And so it's always very, and you still got to have like a measure of astuteness. You still got to have your own life, things that you like to do, right? So even if your main thing is to be with a high value man and be the trophy wife, you still got to have some hobbies and have some things that you like to do. So when he got to go on his business trips, you're not being clingy and weird. All I'm saying is, I say all this to say, we have to assess. As much as I write down my goals, my desires, what I would like, the life I want to be, live, and even the things that God shows us that we are to be, that we are to do, we have to assess what version of myself would it take to actually execute what God is showing me, or what I'm asking God for, and or what I'm asking God for. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Okay. The wilderness is often where your identity gets tested, your motives get exposed, and your character gets refined, and your dependence gets real. So the question is not, how do I get out of this? The real question is, how do I go through this well? Okay. Because it's not only about surviving the wilderness, but it's about becoming stronger, becoming clearer, and wiser while you're in it. So, number one, let's start with how to navigate through this thing. Knowing your why and know your identity, right? While life gets hard, it gets confusing and it increases. And when confusion increases, people start making decisions based on fear, their exhaustion, their urgency. And that's why you have to understand your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you say yes to this assignment, this business, this healing journey, this next level? If you don't know your why, pressure will make you quit things you were actually called to build. You will quit in the middle of it. Okay. And right next to that is identity. You must know who you are when the season does not affirm you, because the wilderness will not always clap for you. It will not always validate you. Man, let me tell you something. Wilderness season will be like, wait, what? Who you said I was supposed to be, Jesus? It will, listen, when God calls you something and your wilderness experience is at no way, shape, or form echoing what God done said, it will have you out here like, am I the righteousness? Am I the head and not the tail? Are you sure? Are you sure? Am I sure? I don't know. I don't know if I'm sure. I don't know. Well, you always sure, but I'm not sure maybe. It will have you questioning. Okay. It will not always give you evidence that you're on the right track. This is where identity truly matters. Jesus was affirmed before the wilderness. Okay. Before he was tempted, heaven had already spoken, "This is my beloved son, in whom I'm well pleased." That means the wilderness came after identity was established. And for us, that means you need to settle within yourself. Who am I when it's quiet? Who am I when it's hard? And who am I when the outcome is not visible yet? We love, especially in this day and age. I'm her. I'm him. I'm her. I'm him. I'm her. We like to quote that. But when the tough gets going and the going gets tough, but the tough gets going and the going gets tough, when visibility is low, I'm gonna say it like that. I'm gonna say it like a weather person. When visibility get low, when the forecast is looking quite cloudy, when it's a bit misty out here, can we still keep sight, keep the vision of who we see, who we are currently, and who we are to become, where we are going? Okay. So a practical tip here is write down 3 identity anchors and 3 why anchors. Why anchors. Keep them where you can see them when pressure rises. Revisit them. I shared earlier this week on a reel my testimony of me just going through my drawer. I was looking for something and I was just going through my drawer and I came across like a notepad, an old notepad that's like this. I like to keep these notepads around. This one's almost done. And I scrabble and, usually depending on where I have it, I'm writing notes, I'm writing whatever I'm consuming, I'm writing some things down that I need to remember, whether it's business related, ministry related, whether it's, something I heard God say, whether it's a teaching, whatever it is, I'll write this stuff down on my notepads. And other times, I'll write down, what I feel like God is saying. And so in this notebook, I wrote some things down in there and I was just like, man, this is good. And one of the things the Lord said was, you're called to be a lighthouse. You're called to be a beacon. And I was like, man, ooh, that's good. Well, the Lord said that's good stuff. And it just re-ministered to me. I was just like, man. And what ministered to me about it was I was very far from being that person at that time. I look back at it now and I'm like, yes, I feel like I'm that person. I have, even if, like, I believe I'm that person now. When I was writing it and God was saying it, I don't believe that. And this was in 2018, 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago. So I wrote it like in mid 2018.
2 p.m. Hope you're having a good day.
Thank you, Google.
Want to go for a walk?
No, I don't want to go for a walk now. And so at the time I was writing it, I remember I was so far from being that person and being what that writing suggests. I felt that way. And I during that time I was operating in some things. I was operating in some things, but I did not believe that. Over the years, yes, I have grown. And like, do I know that and feel that now? Absolutely. That unequivocally, unapologetically, I believe that. I believe that about myself. I know that about myself. I am in full acceptance of that being a part of my identity, a part of how God has fashioned me. And I understand the angle in which that looks like, and I understand how that shows up in my particular skill set and my particular anointing and man. So I understand that now. At that time, man, no, absolutely not. And so God, that during that wilderness season, God was defining. He was telling me who I was. And I said no. Right. So now, even though, as sometimes, listen, I'm human. So I definitely be like, am I okay? I have questions at times. Like, I don't know. I guess I am. I don't know. Did I lose it? Did I lose my mojo? Sometimes I feel that way. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm way more clear. Even though I can have those human moments at times, I'm very much clear on, yes, girl. You know, I could snap back a lot quicker. Before it was no snap back because I really had no reference point. Okay. So number 2, the wilderness is always there to reveal and to refine. The wilderness reveals what's inside you. It reveals where you are fearful. It reveals where you are impatient. Ooh, we can stop right there for 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds. That hit me. All right. It reveals where you are fearful. It reveals where you are impatient. It reveals where you still want control. It reveals whether your confidence is in God or your gifting or in your outcomes. Let's press forward further, or in your education, or in what you build, or in the status that you carry, or in how much money you have, or in the circles that you are in. I gotta get all the examples because we gotta touch on all the nerves. I hit somebody somewhere. Okay. Amen. Praise God. Okay. And while that can feel uncomfortable, it is actually mercy, because you cannot heal what you will not see. You cannot heal. You cannot heal what you will not see. And you cannot steward more while ignoring what still needs work. Whether it's for business owners, leaders, and visionaries, this is huge. The wilderness may show you that you have the vision, but not yet the systems. The drive, but not yet the discipline. Discipline. I'm going to keep saying that because I'm talking to me too. Because it's a cuss word. We don't like that word. The discipline. All right. The anointing, but not yet the emotional regulation. Ooh. Can we talk about emotional regulation? This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Emotional regulation. If you fitting to lose your mind every time something occurs at everything, if you're about to have a whole heart attack, if you're about to have a whole stroke, every single time you feel a measure of pressure applied, that's no bueno. That's no bueno. You can't be ready to lose it every time. Okay. That doesn't mean you're disqualified. It means that there is still good work happening in you. Practical step here. Instead of only asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this season revealing in me? What is this season revealing in me? Not just about me, but in me. Okay? That question moves you from victimhood to maturity. What is this season producing in me? God, what are you trying to produce in me, out of me in this season? In me, out of me. In me, out of me. God is trying to extract some things out of you and to produce some things in you. It's a twofold. Yeah, I can run. God is trying to extract some things out of you as well as produce some things in you so that you can actually be productive and actually produce. I was looking, passing by in my neighborhood. They done pretty much cleared a whole block. It used to be like a ton of dealerships there, but they're going to make an apartment complex. I don't think it's condos. I think it's an apartment complex. And they're going to build some things there. And so they build out everything. They tore down all the buildings. And I was thinking of, it just had me briefly. And so they got my husband would know this. I don't know this. The excavator thing, the excavator thingy that digs, breaks up, right? And it makes me think of, God talking about tearing down, building up, right? It made me think of, some plant, some water God gets to in place. It makes me think of, the tearing down, the building up to uproot. Like, it made me start thinking of those things, because for some reason in our lives, we don't think that stuff. I don't know what we think. And maybe we just don't connect the dots. But there are things that needs to be told up. We are not a blank canvas, not since we were infants. And even prior then, because of iniquities and, listen, because of what we're born into, what's in us, I don't even think we're blank canvas then fully. But there are things that God has to remove so that he may deposit. And so oftentimes we don't think about that. We love the vine dresser. We love, the analogy and the understanding of the garden and the farming, but I don't think we really, that doesn't cross our mind when we're under the pressure. It doesn't cross our mind when we're in the wilderness. And so I'm here to jolt you back and say, hey, this is a part of what he does. Wasn't about the builder. Excavator. Thank you. The excavator thing. The excavator thingy. Okay. You know what I'm saying. That was funny. Oh, let me show that one, because that was funny. Excavator thingy. But it's true. And so we have to understand, and I was thinking about this earlier today. A lot of times when we get hit with stuff, and I'm not just going to say the enemy, because not everything is the enemy, but whether it's the enemy, whether it's our own emotions, whether it's circumstances, whatever it is, whatever the source of it is, wherever it's coming from, a lot of times we get taken aback a little bit, right? We get taken aback like, who that hit me? That hit my emotions, or that hit my heart, or that hit my head, or that hit my finances, or that hit my whatever. And all of these things, correspond with each other, right? No matter what the source of the hit, it all affects our emotions. It affects our heart. It affects our minds. And so when we get hit with these things, we're kind of taken aback. But we have to, as we mature, as we grow, we have to, number one, make sure we're seeing. Well, I'm gonna say number A. Let's say number A, because I already been starting with numbers, so I would just say A. Number A, not letter, number. We have to allow ourselves, when we get taken aback, we have to start, as we mature, seeing things from afar off and noticing patterns, right? So when we see that, okay, God has given me this new idea, or I feel like this new idea, or I feel like it's a new whatever, and I'm gonna start doing, because now I'm brave enough and bold enough. I've grown, I've done the things, and I'm growing, or I'm transitioning. So let's go. And then we realize that, oh, wait a minute, I have feelings about something, or all of a sudden there's discord somewhere, or something funky is starting to happen where this is not a part of the plan. It's supposed to be all roads clear, skies are clear. But it's not. Instead of us just being like, oh no, what am I going to, instead of us doing that, we have to take an assessment and understand, okay, here we go. Buckle our seats and start doing the things that we know to do. Okay. I.e., number 3, I'm off of A. Number 3, don't panic just because it feels unfamiliar. Don't be taken aback. Don't get a jar. Assess, see what it is, regulate ourselves so that we can move forward and, all right, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to handle this? How am I supposed to approach this? What are you saying? What are you trying to do? One reason that the wilderness is hard is because it removes familiar comforts. The old you knew how to function in the old season, and you knew the language, and you knew the people, you knew the rhythms. But now you're in a place where the old tools don't work the same way. And that can feel disorienting. Okay. Again, taking it back. But unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. And discomfort does not automatically mean that you miss God. Sometimes discomfort is simply the evidence that you're growing beyond what you used to fit. In business, it may look like outgrowing old habits, old clients, old pricing, old capacity, old mindsets. In your personal life, it may look like outgrowing old coping mechanisms, old patterns, and old definitions of yourself. Okay? A practical step here is when you feel the urge to panic, pause and ask, is this actually wrong or is this just new? The question alone can save you from abandoning growth too quickly or prematurely. All right. Number 4, build rhythms, not just reactions. Wilderness seasons can expose wilderness seasons can expose how much of your life is built on reaction instead of rhythm or responding, right? As opposed to reacting, responding. When people are under pressure, they often become inconsistent. They pray only when desperate. They rest only when burnt out. They reflect only after the damage is done. Sorry. I felt the MJ. I felt the MJ Shondo on there. But healthy growth comes from rhythm. You need simple, repeatable practices that stabilize you. Okay? Discipline, the cuss word, discipline. Prayer, reflection, journaling, rest, wise counsel, quiet time, movement, and strategic thinking. Not because these things make the wilderness disappear. The wilderness ain't gone nowhere. Your feelings may not go nowhere, not yet. But because they help you go through it without losing your mind. I got to say it like that. I'm not going to say without losing your mind. I'm not going to say it like that. Without losing your mind, your peace, and your discernment. Okay? It helps a discipline, a routine helps you stay stable. The rhythm, it helps you to stay stable in what is instability. Okay? I'm sorry, this feels good to me. So, practical step here. Choose 3 non-negotiables for the season. Not 15, but 3. Don't overdo it. Don't overwhelm yourself. Okay, for my overachievers, choose 3 non-negotiables for this season. 1 spiritual, 1 emotional, and 1 practical. For example, prayer before checking your phone, journal your thoughts before reacting, and review your priorities before saying yes to anything new. Okay? Number 5. Don't isolate. Get the right support. Don't isolate. Get the right support. Wilderness seasons can make people pull away. Sometimes because they're tired, and sometimes because they're embarrassed. Sometimes because they don't want to explain what they are going through. Ooh. But isolation can distort perspective. You do not need a crowd, but you do need the right people. You need voices that can remind you of who you are, what God said, and what wisdom looks like when your emotions are loud. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to hold it together. I'm sorry. I'm trying to hold. When your emotions are loud. I'm sorry. I'm putting it out of focus. Them emotions be loud. I'm sorry. You need voices that can remind you of who you are, what God said, and what wisdom looks like even when them emotions be emotioning when they are loud. I see your comment. I ain't gonna post it, but I see it. Praise, look. Praise scared. Praise scared. For if you are a new believer, a new Christian, this may mean finding one mature believer who can trust you. For those who maybe are a more seasoned or mature Christian, we still need community, we still need help, we still need love. And I find that the more you grow, the harder it is to admit that all this stuff is rinse and repeat. When you've been through the mountain before, when you've been this way before, it's just like, well, why are these things coming up? So for the mature Christian, it can be even harder because it's like, well, this ain't. I mean, it's new, but it's not new. Like, how come I'm having these responses? How come I'm having these responses? How come I'm feeling this way? So it can be even hard. But what's the challenge there? What's the challenge even in that for the mature Christian? I always say this, I know it's in regards to me, always checking that pride. We can't be so far removed. We can't be so mature that we done matured out of it. We can't be so mature that we matured out of the processing. We can't be so mature that we mature out of, hey, it is still the same principles and tools to learn here at this level. And with each step and with each level, it's the same principles that we are learning, just at a greater way, at a greater capacity, because there's a higher demand, because it's a higher call, because it's a higher level, because it's more to be seen, because it's more to be understood, because it's more to be revealed, because it's more to demonstrate. I'm trying to hold it together. I'm trying to hold it together. For leaders and entrepreneurs, it may mean getting around people who understand both purpose and process. Practical step: identify your stability circle. Who are 1 to 3 people you can call when your thinking is a little off, your emotions are high, or you need grounded perspective? We all need it. We all have mountains. I don't care where your mountain, I don't care if your mountain did big. I don't care if it did big. I don't care if it's higher than that. What's that building in Dubai? I don't care. We all have our mountains that feels insurmountable to us. So we need people that can help us have perspective, give us wisdom, stay grounded. Amen. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Stop measuring the season only by visible results. One of the hardest parts of the wilderness is that it can feel unproductive, especially if you're a person who likes movement, progress, and measurable wins. But some of the most important work God does in us cannot be measured immediately. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I'm talking to me. You may not have the open door yet, but you have more discernment. You may not have the big breakthrough yet, but you have more self control. You may not have the full manifestation yet, but you have more peace, more wisdom, and more maturity. That is progress. Practical step here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to. Practical step here. Measure growth. Growth. I'm saying it with an F. Growth by fruit, not by just outcomes. Ask yourself, am I more grounded? Am I clearer? Am I reacting less? Am I trusting more? Am I becoming more whole? All right. Number 7, remember that the wilderness is not your final address. This is important because the wilderness is a season. The wilderness is a season, not your identity. It is a place of process, not a permanent sentence. You are not built to build your home in confusion, fear, or survival mode, but God uses wilderness seasons. God uses wilderness seasons, but he does not waste them. So do not crown the season. Do not name yourself by the struggle, and do not assume that because this is where you are, this is all there is. Okay? Practical step here. Speak about the season with hope. Instead of saying this is just my life, say this is a season that is shaping me. The reframe matters. That shift matters. Okay? Coming to a close. Coming to a close. Coming to a close. Okay. Did I get it? Okay. There we go. I'm coming to a close. Ooh-wee. Heart me up, send me a wave if you enjoyed that. Heart me up if you liked it. If you're catching a replay, send me a hashtag replay. Do all the things. If you are between the rock and the hard place right now, take heart. You are not weak because this feels hard. You are not failing because you feel stretched. You are not off course because the wilderness feels uncomfortable. This season may be revealing you, refining you, and preparing you all at once. Know your why, know your identity, and let the wilderness teach you without letting it define you. Build rhythms, get support, measure fruit. And remember, this is not the end of the story. There's so much more to the story. You're not done with me yet. You're not done with me yet. I ain't come on here to sing. You're not done with me yet. There's so much more to the story. You're not done with me yet. That blessed me. Sometimes the hardest seasons produce the clearest people. And if you go through this well, you won't just come out relieved, but you'll come out ready. Okay, Oh, wait, that was it. Let me say it again. Because I'm about to give you the rest of my spiel. But again, remember this is not the end of the story. And sometimes the hardest seasons produces the clearest people. And whew, if you go through this well, you won't just come out relieved, you'll come out ready. Okay. That's it. That's it. That's all for today. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me for today's and this week's Mature Me Monday. I hope that blessed you. I hope that you were able to extract some nuggets from it. I hope you were able to reflect. I hope you can watch this, go through the practical steps, write these things down. I want to hear about it. DM me, let me know what the testimonies are. Let me know what your message is. I want to know. So whether you commented, whether you DM me, let me know if if it's blessing you. Replay gang, let me know. You're watching a replay. I want to hear from you. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.